Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and welcome to The Backrooms, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is one of those very recent 4chan threads that I was kind of asked to look into, and it's one that really interested me. Now, this is in fact a creepypasta, ladies and gentlemen, so I guess if you wanted to go back to that original day of, hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, this is welcome to, not haunted gaming actually, because this has nothing to do with video gaming. Well, kind of. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know what The Backrooms is, let's look into this post real quickly. The post starts off with, if you're not careful. Now, by the way, it has this like dingy 90s looking feel to it. Now, this is kind of what I imagine the hellish, the worst of retirement homes is probably what this will look like. Now, it's got that weird, like, you can almost hear the hum going on in here, right? You know what I mean? Like this weird Dutch angle of just nothingness. Like, it looks like piss-stained walls. It's almost like, it's just terrible. But anyways, let's read it. If you're not careful and you no-clip out of reality, in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the back rooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old, moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented, empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I must say, immediately this reminds me of LSD Dream Emulator. Like, if you've played that game, you kind of guess what I'm talking about. If you go to the school chapters of that game, like, it's pretty much that. Now, at the end of the day, for those of you who don't know what the term no-clip means, clipping is basically how video game characters or, like, video games detect collision. So basically, if you run into a wall, you're effectively clipping into it, and as you clip into the wall, the game will push you back into a legal spot for you to be standing in. By simply putting in a no-clip flag, you can actually go through walls. So if you wanted to be Casper the Ghost in your favorite Doom map, you could no-clip and just do that. But ladies and gentlemen, that is effectively what The Backrooms is. A pretty harmless post. But let's go back to the original, well, one of the original posts on it. Dude, I actually had a dream about this kind of place and it fucked me up real bad. I still think about it all the time. The portal to this dimension can be found in the back of your local rundown Sears. Yikes! Ouch, dude. That's a low blow to Sears right there, man. Then again, I hated Sears back in the day, dude. It was terrible. My parents would drag me to that shit for no good reason. There are many versions of this, all of which are real, all of which are a reflection of your unconsciousness or consciousness. Sorry, I can't read, it's late. For example, I've been into one that's like a foggy morning, with old broken stone walls about 2 feet tall, surrounding small trees 10 feet, planted about every 15 feet. And it just goes on forever. And there are certain places where you could move between worlds, but you have to have the correct key. And I remember feeling despair because I had no idea what the keys were. I got the vague feeling that out in the fog, say about 100 yards out, there were things moving, but I never saw them. The backrooms are a maze-like labyrinth of prefabricated rooms used to load reality. Those that are quite psychotic or on the verge of seeing through reality often end up clipping out of the matrix and can end up in the back rooms. Individuals confined the rooms have a feel like that of rooms in the late 60s or 70s. Though the lights are on, there are no switches. Many people simply starve to death trying to find an escape, resorting to trying to eat the dry board or carpet out of the structures. Individuals attempt to find moisture in the walls and build a dwelling within the old 70s empty rooms, building carpet beds, and trying to find respite from the ever-bright green fluorescent lights in order to sleep. In order to escape the back rooms, you must become fully convinced that this is where you are meant to be and feel as if you're moving through your own house or workspace. Only then will your home or old dwelling materialize around you, and you will be out of the backroom matrix. Individuals who have escaped the back rooms often feel like they're still in it, and are permanently, psychologically damaged from the understanding their real life is inherently false. Many individuals often end up killing themselves. Okay, so basically the idea is that if you peek through the fabric of reality enough, you can uncover the matrix, which is literally this, the back rooms, that part that just keeps repeating over and over and over again. That point, that loading zone in the matrix. Now, I'm actually one of the people that is a believer of the idea of the matrix theory, which is like we live in a computer simulation. Because to be honest with you, I can believe a lot of conspiracies and I can choose not to believe in a lot of conspiracies. But to be honest with you, I can see the whole computer simulation make sense. As a species, when we start developing things like artificial intelligence, and when that shit reaches sentience, who's to say we're not just sentient artificial intelligence too? What if we're just a cluster of people, you know what I mean? Like what if we're just a giant Sims game? I think I need a tinfoil, I think I need a lobotomy at this point, dude, Christ. What's interesting is like they start posting other back rooms that you can start visiting, and these are kind of creepy, so let's go look at a couple of these. So eventually you find something called Yes Laboratories. We spelled laboratories a little wrong, and we got this like weird, I want to say it looks like a purple teddy bear. It could look like a pretty scuffed Teletubby for all I know. And you've got like these weird like back rooms somebody's taken a photo of, and as you progress further down into it, just real quick, yeah, right here, sorry, it was just, I had to find a couple of these. You find like those weird subway terminals where like everything kind of repeats itself. It almost reminds me of like a weird public storage. Like if you ever have owned a public storage, like I've needed one when I had to move to this house. I had to get like a public storage system and like put all my shit in there, and it almost looked verbatim like this. Like it was just endless halls and halls and halls of like rooms, and it was just weird as hell. I swear at one point I heard footsteps, which I guess isn't uncommon, but like being there late at night and hearing that shit is just some places you do not want to be when it's dark outside. Let me tell you that. One of the cool things is they actually lead us to the SCP Wiki, which for those of you who don't know SCP Foundation, we actually covered a couple of these in the past. They're sort of like creepypasta, like it's almost an ARG of like people who create these sort of like weird anomalies that are hidden within the world. But here it is, by the order of the Overseer Council. So they've got one over here called SCP-2935, which is called Keter Object Class. And here they discuss a space-time anomaly existing within a limestone cave beneath a cemetery near Joppa, Indiana. The cemetery, whose last interred individual died in 1908, was discovered by Foundation personnel after radio signals were discovered emanating from SCP-2935. The anomaly is nearly exact replicate reality of modern Earth in the year 2016, with the primary exception being that all life, including both biological and non-biological, as well as any sentient entities, machines, computers, and other lifelike phenomena within SCP-2935 ended on April 20th, 2016. Jesus. I mean, I know it's fake and everything, but sometimes the SCP community gets so into it that, like, I don't know. It's a little odd to me. Like it gets so into it that they give it such. I guess they give it such. They give it such reality to it that it's a little out there sometimes. But congratulations, you're adding to the creepiness. Let me tell you. So let's talk about some rabbit holes, dude. I mean, goddamn. I mean, everything related to these image board threads usually goes down to a big giant rabbit hole. Now, beyond the Matrix being busted, these people tossed about something called the Michigan Blue Hell Theory, which I guess we'll look into. 6-point ley line crossing in Lake Erie apparently hosts to a portal or opening that leads out of the level, which is where ancient natives put a demon king a long time ago. Ever glitched out of a level in a video game? You can go back in, but everything is invisible. That's what it's supposed to be like if you enter this portal. Now, for those of you who don't know what Blue Hell is, let me just guide you real quick. If you ever played the games Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas often have different aspects of the interiors and different levels hidden within the big open world around it. So let's say you wanted to see some of the interiors. Well, you could actually go into any interior and basically escape sort of a rigid line. You could clip out and enter what the game would call Blue Hell. Blue Hell is basically just being outside the boundaries, and within Blue Hell you can find other zones that are half loaded into wherever you're in right now. It's actually a really weird situation, and I would definitely check that you would Google it for sure, because blue hell is an interesting concept. It's a pretty video gamey segment, just to point it out. To be more clear, the actual idea of seeing past the real world simulation and seeing the skybox of the world, named after the blue hell glitches in games, obviously, where you basically do the same thing, exit a level through clipping or glitching and seeing a giant mass of blue, which is the game's skybox. That stuff about demons and ancient natives and whatnot is disinformation as far as we know. The Michigan part is there because there was a thread where OP saw it happen in real life in Michigan, which again, if you don't have the proof of that, I really don't know what to go down with. Like, you gotta have some proof. You can't just toss the state of Michigan under the radar with that. Well, speaking of that, we actually got a Tumblr post, for crying out loud, and this is by your sons and your husband, I think. But just to give credit where credit's due. Conspiracy theories number 3, Michigan Blue Hell. The term blue hell began in the vernacular of video games, so here they're actually telling you about, clipping out of the game world in GTA. The Michigan Blue Hell theory posits that such a scene actually exists in the American state of Michigan, and that a similar realm can be accessed in real life. There is a variety of takes on the Michigan Blue Hell legend. Some argue that it relates to Native American folklore, others that it lies within an abandoned building, and some that it is inside Lake Erie. The theories which state Native Americans were involved mostly revolve around the idea that they were aware of the Michigan Blue Hell's existence and used it as a means to punish or trap wrongdoers. So basically they would throw people that committed crimes or sins or whatever into this like blue hell where they couldn't escape from. So if everything's invisible and you got demons down there, that's some wild stuff, dude. That's probably the worst kind of punishment to have. Jesus. In the unlikely event such a place does exist, it would be impossible to know what it contains without actually going in. Yeah, it's kind of like the whole black hole theory, right? Like, I mean, if there is something at the other end of a black hole, you have to actually go through the black hole to see it, right? And as of now, if you tried doing that, you'd be dead. You'd turn into a fucking singular line and you'd be gone. You can't send a camera in because that camera's going to be gone. Like it'll literally tear anything apart. So until we develop the technology, it's going to be kind of like the blue hell situation, right? Kind of clipping out. Whew, God damn, what the fuck did I come across today? Ladies and gentlemen, the back rooms. I usually look at some of these things and I wonder to myself, it's funny when I get into it because the reality is this is one of those new creepypastas that are out there. And, I'm one of the people that believes in sort of the Matrix theory, clipping through and seeing the fabrics of reality tear in front of your eyes. Now, is something like the backwoods real, or sorry, not the backwoods, the back doors? I actually prefer backwoods. Is it real? Most likely not, but at the same time, it's probably the scariest thing you can think of, because to be locked into such a location where it's literally just you walking down the same barren hallways over and over and over again by yourself, hearing that fucking fluorescent buzz, is probably the worst kind of torture out there. It's almost like being locked into solitary confinement and almost having no way to get out of it. That is probably the stuff of nightmares to at least somebody like me. I find that shit truly terrifying. Now, we went down the rabbit hole and even went to things like the Michigan Blue Hell. So you know what? I think I'm going to kind of go back to reality. I don't want to just jump into the Blue Hell game right there. And I don't want to get tossed into that, ladies and gentlemen. So for now, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. This is me, Mudahar, and I am out.